Okay, we're recording.
Okay, well, let me welcome you all to the ANS meeting for the last month of the year. In fact, number 1,243 that we're at, so it's a pretty substantial number. And I welcome you all, and it's good to see you because this is actually my first visit to the Roseville Club since we've been meeting here. I always struggle to usually have another engagement in Bowral, believe it or not. I've got to be there just before 7, so getting here from here is tricky, so that's why I haven't been, but that's not happening today, so it doesn't matter what time I get home. Their apologies: Tony Hall, Les Carlisle, Robert Tonner, Paul Neumann, Ron Bolden, Joe Detling, Mary Brad, Bruce Short, Frank Xavier. Sorry about Frank, his wife's not too well, and but Grant's here, so it's good to see. Before we start, the general business, just about next meeting, the 14th of January, so not too far away, on a Sunday. Sunday the 14th. Sunday the 14th, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It's just a show and tell, so just bring up the 5 items and your choice. So something that interests you. But as for the topics for the rest of the year, I think Rod would like some suggestions you might like to make. So,
does anybody have any suggestions for topics? Do you have items that you'd like to show? Probably better that we show things that you can bring in. So, like, would you like to have one with tokens, for example, or milk and bread tokens and things? I know you've sort of talked about it once before, but
anyway, give some thought. Just communicate. I know you've all got
you must know what you've got.
special interests.
Gold sovereigns.
Yeah, well, simply gold.
I mean, the world of numismatics is pretty wide, so you don't have to be an expert in it to talk to us, because none of us will be. You just pick a subject you'd like to learn a bit, do a bit of research on it and talk about it. That's the easy thing.
What about you, Grant? Any suggestions? Proclamation coins.
Why not? Proclamation course is good. That's a good topic. Yeah.
Coins.
So, all right. Well,
Morris, any ideas?
Is there any other general business people want to bring up before we launch in? Because this is the display competition, such as it is. I mean, we're not quite sure. I'm never quite sure what sort of facilities we'd have had here, what to organise here. But if you just brought something along, just want to pass it round, we can incorporate that in. I've got 2 things really. I've got a little coin case and some books over here, which was a display I actually prepared for the Ander Fair. When I got to the Ander Fair, there was no room for a display, so I just took it home again. And I have shown this similar before up at Coffs Harbour and so on. So that's one thing. And the other thing I bought, in terms of recent acquisitions, I bought in my own stuff I bought in Jim Noble's auction last month. Last month. Pass that around if we like, but we can do that. But I invite anybody else who's got something in your pocket you want to get rid of. Anybody found the Charles the third head on a coin yet? They're apparently round.
Yeah, I've been offered rolls of them, and I've said thank you very much. Now I'll wait till I get them at face value.
Yeah, that's right.
Because there's going to be millions of them.
I expect him to get them in change before Christmas.
What denominations are they?
Not all of us, as you know, use cash anymore to get any change. That's a bit of a difficulty, isn't it? If you want to pay something $3.50 and you hand them your MasterCard, that's you're not going to get any change. So please support cash, because if none of us use it, you won't be able to use it. And that even now the Reserve Bank is talking about business people putting a surcharge on cash just for the cost of handling it. So, cop that.
Well, they're going to have a fight then if they do.
Yes.
Because it's legal tender still.
I often see little cards near the cash register too, you know. Some organisation is saying, don't let cash go away, keep paying in cash, because everything else is trackable. And as for digital, you know, Reserve Bank currency, that'll come with little apps attached, which preclude certain activities to be used for. You realise it's possible. Anyway, all right. We'll. So, anyone like to stand up and talk about what they've got?
Oh, why don't you start, Dave?
Why don't I start saying I'm up here? All right.
This is display number 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, look, it's actually I don't really want to make this a display. It looks a lot, doesn't it? And it costs me a lot too. But this is what I bought from Jim the other day, and they're really good stuff. Those of you who had a chance to look at the option realised, or maybe realised, they had a pretty good collection of Russian coins. Some collection has been...
He had a very good Russian collection.
Huh?
Yes.
Exhaustive, quite large, and some interesting things in it. And I didn't have any Russian coins at all. It's an area I've steered clear of. First of all, because I hate what the Russians are doing in Ukraine at the moment. But this was just Imperial Russia. I wouldn't bother buying anything from the USSR or recent Russia, but most of it was Imperial Russia from the time of the Tsars, and especially from the time of Peter the Great. So some stuff there.
Jim had Russian notes there as well.
Well, they were extra on Beltmore. Present.
I'll just put these here.
The Russian notes?
Past present. On these Russian notes.
This book tells it all what I sort of wanted to talk about. And it's actually got a very interesting connection with the Russian. This book is titled, it's a beautiful book to have, Hospitallers, The History of the Order of St. John. Now, most of you probably have seen when you go out to a football match, people from St. John's Ambulance there. How's that connected? It is connected to this. And without going into too much history, the military order of St. John, as it was originally there, was set up in Jerusalem at the time of the Crusades to help. First of all, they had a medical mission or a hospital mission to help any sick pilgrims that have turned up, or anyone who got attacked by bandits and so on, as was common in those days. And they also became a military order too, to actually fight on behalf of the group of knights. Monks. They were monks, but they were knights as well, to fight against the Muslim invaders, or re-invaders, might say. And from there it started. And they didn't just end when Saladin and his successors drove all the Crusaders out of the Holy Land, because they went to other places. And the Hospitallers in particular, first of all, went to Cyprus, and a bit crowded there. Then they asked the Pope for another place. He said, well, what about the beautiful Greek island of Rhodes? Go there. He didn't have it. He had to conquer it first. And it is, let me tell you, it was a fantastic place, Rhodes. Everyone can picture it where it is, just underneath the Turkey there. And anyway, in the 14th century, they took it and they built their city, big city there, built castle, built the walled city of Rhodes. Also a fantastic place to go, still there. And then they issued a whole lot of coinage for Rhodes. That was the first time they issued coinage there. Anyway, cut a long story short, Constantinople was captured by the Turks in 1453, and immediately the Sultan of the Ottoman Turks, which took it, said, well, look, Rhodes used to be part of the Roman Empire. You guys are trespassing here. And he started trying to get rid of them. They had 2 sieges, one in the 1480s and one in the 1520s. The 1480s one, the knights successfully resisted. The 1420s one they didn't. Sorry, the 1520s one they didn't. This was under the great sort of Suleiman the Magnificent when he was young. But they came to some arrangement, and the Turkish Sultan allowed them get in their boats and whatever they could take with them, they could in their boats, their galleys, and off they popped. They didn't know where they were going. They weren't going to stay in Rhodes, that was for sure. They first went to Crete, and after a little while they asked the Pope again, where the hell are we going to live? He said, well, how about Malta? They moved to Malta. And they occupied Malta for 300 or 400 years, quite successfully. They had to resist the Turks one more time in the Great Siege in the 16th century, so that was a fight. Anyway, along comes Napoleon with the French army on the way to Egypt, stops off in Malta, conquers the place, gets rid of all the knights, and nothing to, that was not to do with the modern thing, that was all, medieval, feudalistic and all of that. So, story behind that as well. But, and afterwards, of course, Malta was a British colony after Waterloo they got independence now. It's a lovely place to visit also, and so full of interesting things. And
Malta?
Malta. You been there?
Yeah.
It's great. No? Too crowded?
Well, the craziest drivers you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
And, but no, interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, this book is well worth it. The pictures are fantastic. It talks about the Crusaders in Jerusalem and then in Rhodes and then in Malta and everything. So we'll leave that there. So you're going to have a look at the coins themselves. They're all uncovered, so just be careful breathing on them if you like. But they start off with some of the Rhodes coins, and not many. There's a little Turkish altin, as it's called, or a dinar, and then the rest are coins of the Knights of Malta. So there's a 16th century ducat, which is of Malta, which they're quite rare, and then there's a couple of 18th century later rulers. And just let me tell you the currency of Malta in those days. Quite complicated. There were 6 piccoli to 1 grano. Grain. There were 20 grano to 1 tari. There were 12 tari to 1 scudo, and there were 10 scudo to the Maltese pound. And I have a 10 scudo piece here, right in the middle there. Well, you won't be able to see it from here, but you can come out and have a look later. This was dated one of the Portuguese here we are, 1763. So quite late, because Napoleon was there in 1798, that's when the whole thing collapsed. You want to see it there? Can you show it? Yeah. This says it all really about Maltese currency. Yeah. This also came out of an earlier Jews. I think. No, it didn't come from somewhere else. I couldn't buy the one in Jim's auction. It went to here. So I bought it elsewhere. Might have been Spink. It's a quite interesting coin.
Second something.
Just a little bit that way, so it's standing up. That's it. Okay. X, Scudi, 10. Roman 10, X. So it's a gold coin, and the St. John we're talking about, just be careful, I'll remind you, is St. John the Baptist. Big story in the Bible. And the election, it took me a little, but this is in here. Non-surrexit major. Took me a while to work that one out, but that is the standard legend that goes with St. John, because Jesus said to his people when John came on the scene, none has arisen better. That's what that translates to. No one in the world up till now that we've had has been better than John the Baptist in terms of his spiritual, understanding. So, but of course, St. John, we also know from the Bible, got executed as a reward for Salome doing a dance of the seven veils for
Got
Herod.
his head cut off, yeah.
We don't have that on the picture. On the other side, yeah, put the other side. It's just the tradition of the Maltese coinage.
David, when they made statements like that, they mustn't have known about the Aborigines.
No, you're right. Yeah. This was biblical. This was out of St. James' Bible. Yeah, this is typical. Upside down, right?
Upside down.
Flip it. That's it. Okay. But the shield was always the cross, which was the order of the Hospitallers, simple cross, and this part was the heraldic shield of the family member of the Grand Master, who was elected position, but he always had to be a nobleman, so it's the coat of arms. And this one was Emmanuel de Pinto, who was a Portuguese. The interesting thing about the order is that they, it was one of the, like the UN, it was one of the first multinational, albeit Catholic organisations, and they were divided into what they called the long or the tongues. So if you're a Catholic Englishman, you'd be in the English tongue, and if you're Portuguese or Spanish, you'd be in Spanish, or French. And they had a number of French languages in those days, the standard French, if you like, and Provençal and Auvergne, which was the sort of, yeah. So it was mainly French, but they had others too. And this is, thereby lies the tale, because, okay, when it was founded, everyone was Catholic if you're a Christian, apart from Orthodox. However, no Protestants. They used to get seriously hacked to death in those days. And eventually, of course, the Reformation came along, and the question was, what do they do with all the Europeans who used to belong to it and now, Lutheran or something else? Well, they in the 19th century, they found a repulsion. After Napoleon, of course, the whole thing was disbanded, and everybody said, "Oh, that used to be a good idea. Let's try and resurrect it." And so they eventually found a way of finding. So the English St. John's ambulance whole thing was sort of originally the English priory, and they accepted the fact that they weren't Catholics. And then they had another one in Prussia or Germany, which Lutheran, and the Swedes, they separated out from the Germans. They're very Lutheran too. In fact, they were more Lutheran than the Germans. And then finally, and it's a long story, but you can read in the book, the Orthodox decided they'd like in too. So after the invasion of Napoleon, the Grand Master, got a coin here of his, got a big one here, golden string, have a look at that one. Grand Master Ferdinand von Hompesch. He, German, the German thing, and this was Catholic German at the stage. I said, "Oh no, we're not designed to fight a Christian army," so he didn't put up any fight to Napoleon's invasion. They wouldn't have done him any good, but they weren't ready for it. But he sort of, when he was kicked out, they didn't want him. "Oh, you're the guy, you're the Grand Master who failed us." He retired and faded out of the picture. And after a while, they needed another one. And it turned out, for some reason, that they went to the Tsar of Russia, Tsar Paul, and asked him to be the Grand Master. And he said, sure. Apparently, when he was Crown Prince, he'd already visited Malta, so he knew all about it. He was quite keen. Unfortunately, he didn't last long. He was assassinated. That's the Russians for you. So this is it's a good one, and this one's dated. I think it's dated the year Napoleon arrived. Yeah, 1798. 1798. There it is, right there upside down. And of course, whenever you see up here, and you see the Knight Maltese cross, big on Maltese crosses in Malta. interestingly, the double-headed eagle. I'm not sure about that either because that's a Russian symbol. If ever there was one, but there's also an imperial German symbol as well. I'm not sure about the history of the double-headed eagle. All right, well, so that's all on that one. Have a look at the other coin and the books. There's an old book by a guy called Strimbury, called Coins and Medals of the Knights of Malta. And that's sort of it's an old catalogue, but it's still, it's just got plates and a lot of description, a lot of history. Actually, I will just put time. One other coin. My only coin of the 16th century Malta, a 4-tari piece. Quite a big silver coin, and it shows the severed head of John the Baptist on a platter. So, not lunch, but that's what it shows. But this, I bought this and I had to own this because this was minted by the Grand Master Jean Parisot de Valette, who successfully defended Malta against what is called the Great Siege. A huge Turkish armada wanted to attack Malta and take it. There's what they say about Malta. He who controls Malta controls the Mediterranean, as they say, and they all realised it too. So, but Valette successfully resisted with difficulty, great difficulty. They lost, only 80% of their men trying to fight off the Turk, and eventually a rescue fleet came and the Turks disappeared, and after that Valette was proclaimed a great hero, and all the fighting was done on the Grand Harbour but on the south side, what they call the Three Cities area, and above that on the other side is this big hill, completely vacant at the time. Now that's where the city of Valletta, named after Valette, was done after the Great Siege, and that's a great place to walk around too. So, Jean Parisot.
David, what grade do you make the gold coin?
Oh, VF, I guess, roughly.
The reverse was better than the obverse.
It could well be. It could be. Yes, reverse is more detailed, whereas the obverse has got the figure and the lamb and the little lamb, the Lamb of God. You get that bit? Yeah. So yeah, now look, that's why I've got the floor if you don't mind. I tried to buy a ruble of Paul. Jim had one in his auction of Paul, Tsar Paul. Tsar Paul was an interesting character. He only ruled for about 5 years. He was the son of Catherine the Great. Now, Catherine, theoretically, his father was Catherine the Great's husband, but it only lasted a few years, and they seemed to have a succession in Russia in those days that the wives could become the empress, and anyway, a long story short, that's the way it was. Also leads me another very Australian story too, but if I may quickly, yes, and I should know this. Poland has a great hero, Kosciuszko. We've got our biggest mountain named after him because of the Polish Strzelecki, the Polish explorer. And Kosciuszko was fighting against Catherine the Great, where they were trying to partition Poland and make it non-existent almost. And he was captured by her, imprisoned in St. Petersburg. Now the son didn't get on with his mother very well, so as soon as Catherine the Great died, which is about 1795, much the same time as these events were happening in Malta, Tsar Paul came to this run and he freed Kosciuszko. He said, no, you can go. He goes, only your mother's prison, not mine. Went and sort of retired to Switzerland. So a little story about Kosciuszko. But yes, I might just have a quick look at one last Maltese coin because this is the one that was in the auction, right? Had to have this one. This was the Grand Master after Pinto. There's Emmanuel de Rohan. See if you can grab both sides. And this is another 10 scooty piece. They did make 20 scooty. I don't have one of those. They're bigger and better. This one's a very nice coin. It's almost sunk, but it's got a few what they call adjustment marks on it, which probably devalue it a little bit, but not much. A little bit of seeming a weak spot here. But you can see again the hospital, translate that, hospital, the sepulchre of Jerusalem, actually. So the Holy Sepulchre in was the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. That's also part of the protectorate. 1775, it is. So just before those events. And there we have the flag, the cross of the order and the shield with the new Grand Master of Emmanuel de Rome. And you flip it over to see the other side. Is that easy to do?
Where was it minted?
Malta, Valletta.
Where?
Valletta,
Oh, right.
in Malta. All these were minted in Malta.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's nice. Emmanuel de Rohan, M.M. Magnus Magister, Grand Master. Nothing to do with Malta as such. I mean, their estates were far bigger than Malta. They had, the people over the centuries had been giving them bequests and so on to. Malta was a net receiver from European wealth of the properties owned by the hospitals all over Europe. And in the early days, the Grand Master of this had the rank of Cardinal in the Catholic Church, even if he didn't have the hat. So I can't show you a coin of Paul, unfortunately. I couldn't get one in the auction. But I've got a few others we can have a look later. So, right. Anybody else want to turn? Who's next?
Yeah, I'll go number 2 and talk about francs. Display number 2 is from Frank. I can't be here, but Grant brought it in. Here's your Dave. Here's your coins too. If you want to put them back. So Frank has a display of $2 coins. Right.
Camera on the letters and moving. You have to stand up on the letters and
Yeah.
so many of them.
Right. So it starts with 1988 when the first $2 came out, and 1988, 89, and 90, the first 3 $2 coins had HH initials on it, which was the designer, Horst Hahn. From after 1991, the initial was dropped. So people who start collecting coins now say, oh, this is a variety, you know, we've got the HH coin. But of course it's, 30 years ago or so. They're pretty bloody warm. But they weren't rare. There were millions of them minted at those times, especially the first 88, because it replaced the $2 note. So, the millions of $2 notes came out, millions of $2 coins got issued. The first of the sort of newest coins came out in 2012, and that was put out with a poppy in the center, and it was put out for Remembrance Day, and it was a Remembrance Day poppy. There were millions of them issued, but the mint had an order from the RSL, and I think it was their own design, to have some with a red poppy in the center. And so the RSL had these coins with the red poppy in the center, and that is one of the key coins to get, because there was only a few 100,000 made. The RSL actually had trouble getting rid of them, so there wasn't a great demand to start with. But the mint had some left over, which they packaged themselves. you could buy those in the mint package in those days for $12. And people like me said, hey, it's a $2 coin, why am I paying $12? You know? But I have a friend in America who I got hooked on Australian $2 coins. And he wants to collect all the different packaging. So he said, I don't care what it costs, get me one of them. So I did, and while I got him one, I got me one. So I had them.
So there was none for general circulation.
With the red poppy, no. They weren't general circulation, they were only in a pack. And the ones that the mint put out had a little C mint mark as well. I'm not sure if the RSL one had a C mint mark. Then we come to this one, which is 2013, and it had a, getting closer, get a better view of it. It was for the 60th anniversary of the Queen's reign, the Queen's reign of the coronation. Actually, it's the 60th anniversary of the coronation because it's 2013, and it had the purple ring in it, and there's little crowns in the purple ring, and so it was one for every year sort of thing. And again, they were hard to get. They were there 2013. 2013 for the ANS was very important because it was our centenary year. And we were having our centenary conference, and suddenly I was encasing the normal $2 coin for our centenary. And then these ones came out, and so, hey, we have to try and encase them. Well, they weren't easy to find and get, but I think we have 32 of them encased. And this again is harder to get nice ones of these than it is to get the red poppy one, because most of them are in packs. So this is more or less the key coin of the $2 series. After that coin came out, the mint started producing remembrance coins. So every Anzac Day and every 11th of November, they would put out a special coin. And so they started off with this one in 2014, that one's 2015, 2016, and then also in 2016 they put out this special pack for the 50th anniversary of decimal currency, 2016, and it's the one which has the little head of the Queen, and then a coin that representation of one of the coins that was on. The $2 is a fairly common coin. The $1 coin is the hard one. It's the really hard one because it was less than 1 million made. And then Woolies comes into the act, and Woolworths, I think these are 2018, 2017, no, it must be 2018, 2016, 2018. It was for the Olympics, and they put out this set of coins as change in for the Olympics. So if you went into a Woolies store and you paid cash, you'd been given change, and you would get one of these. They put a different colour every week. So theoretically, you'd have to go and shop every week to try and get the other colour. And even in those days, it was, people were after them. Well, these coloured coins have about 3 years ago suddenly took off. I don't know why, but people started wanting them, and they started wanting the red poppy, the 2012 red poppy, and the purple 2013. And demand went on, and the craze was there. And I personally couldn't understand why people would pay big money for these coins that have been around for so long. But hey, who am I to complain? I mean, there. Yeah. So, but the ones that really took off were the ones in packs with the C mint mark, because there was only 5,000 of them issued. And the very first pack, the red poppy pack, the RSL had quite a few, but the mint had a tiny little blue pack there. And I can remember the prices went mad, and I went to see Joe Detley in William Coyne saying, "Hey Joe, you're on your website, you say you're out of stock, and what next?" "I've got a few. What are you offering for them?" And I can't remember exactly what Joe paid me, but it was something like $600 or so. For a $12 coin, a $2 coin in the $12 pack. I was thinking, this is mad. The mint in 2018. 2018? No. Must have been 2 years ago. Or 23. Must have been 2021. In 2021, they put out a set of all the coloured coins that they've made in a pack. And the only difference with that set was that they all had the same date. It must have been 2021 or 2018 date in it. But there were 12 coins in the pack, and they were charging $80 for it. And again, me saying, "Hey, there's 12 coins, that's $24 face. Why am I paying $80 for this?" So I said, "Forget it. I didn't buy it." What an idiot. Because that pack went up to $1,000. People were paying $1,000 for it. Now, the mint has got smart now, and they put a new pack on. They've done a 14 coin pack, which is just out. The only trouble is the mint's getting smarter. They didn't make 5,000 of them, they made 35,000 of them. But the market is still there. They were retailing them at $235. No longer this $80, it's $235. And there's 35,000. I think I did a quick calculation saying that's $8 million worth if they go. But people are selling them on eBay now for $500 and more. Hey, who am I to criticize? It's marketing. Cash in while you can. Luckily, Joe's put one aside for me, so I'll have to fork out $235 and get my pack. But that's the way it is. So these are all the coins. The later ones, like there was one for an Aboriginal flag. There was the one, I think that was for the eternal flame in the war memorial. That one was for the first responders. It was for the healthcare workers. So these are all the $2 coins. The last two were for the Matildas. There is a third one which I guess Frank still has to get, but he's got two of the three Matilda coins. So this is a sort of little history of the $2 coins, and yeah, it's a phenomena it's been 3 years and it's still going, and I'm still cashing in on it whenever I see people willing to pay silly prices. Okay, I was working at Nobles recently, and there was one of the young lads, Chinese lad, who sort of collects but also deals in it, and we were discussing the coins, and I was saying how I sold some of the Matilda coins back to Joe. He had trouble getting them, so I managed to get like 50 of each or so, took some back to Joe, and he was buying them at $3 each, and I was thinking, hey, 50% profit, who can complain? But Andy was saying, he said, I'll give you $3.50 for those. I still had 20 sets at home, so I'll bring them in tomorrow. So, and I brought in another one of the little pack coins, and he was happy, and I got $400 off him, and it was in my pocket, and I was happy. So, yeah, it can't last.
It's not easy to get a bit sick of it.
So that's display number 2, and display number 1 is mine. And my display is on the English bimetallic £2 coin. And the English £2 coin was first issued in 1997. The Royal Mint put out this little pack that one could get, and most people don't even know it exists. But it's how they make the bimetallic coins. So, you know, started off melting down and then making the rings, pressing them together. Then they have all the blanks in there, processing, and then the last bit. They put out a four coin pack with the inner bit, the outer piece from which the ring is sort of cut, and then the two together once it's stamped. Now with this trial pack, the last coin has a ship on the reverse, so it's 97, and the trial pack is a really hard one to find. A lot of people don't even know it existed, but because I'm a bimetallic collector, I was looking and I've got one. I can remember in the year 2000 we had a conference at Port Macquarie, and I was running the conference because Fred Dobbin wasn't that well, and I'd sort of taken over as the secretary, and Tom Handley wasn't there. Tom had his prostate had played up and Tom couldn't make it, so hey, here I am at the conference, my sort of second conference I've been to, running it, you know, thinking, shit, what do I do? So it was an experience, but because I was sort of in charge, I had a couple of these packs, and we had a display competition, and Fred Scarf from Queensland won it, and I had my second pack as the gift, that the best display one. And I remember Fred winning this, and he was most impressed because he hadn't seen it before. And sit over there to do the display. So the English £2, 1997 was the first. And then you go to 1998, and in 1998 the Queen's portrait had changed. So the 1997 £2 is a 1-year type, and it had on the edge is inscribed the Isaac Newton quote, "Standing on the shoulders of giants." Was that so? It was all that's 1997, And then come 1998 and we get the different portrait. Then they were just standard ones, 90, similar year after year sort of thing. And then the Royal Mint got smart. They said, hey, we can put a specific £2 coin to celebrate some event, some centenary. And they had one earlier on. It might be later. That might have been the first one in 2001 for the centenary of Marconi and the sending of wireless messages all over the world. There's 2002. In 2002, they had the Commonwealth Games in Manchester. And they didn't make just one coin, they made 4. So next to each of the coins was the individual flag. The flag, English, Scottish, Irish and Welsh flags were in that set. So it's the Welsh flag there, Scottish flag, the English flag and the Northern Irish flag. So it's surprising, but because they're pretty small, the designs, there's so many people who don't realize, they take a look at it and say, oh yeah, I've got this coin. But there's 4 coins, there's not one. So it's slightly different.
Did they circulate once?
They did. They were circulating, but they also put packs out as well. They started getting smart and they were selling the packs at a hell of a high price. 2003, the £2 commemorative was for DNA. 2004 was for the steam engine. Lots of people collect the commemorative, they don't collect the normal. And it's the same with our coins. Anytime there's a commemorative coin comes out, you know, even these $2, everyone's saving them. And I always tell everyone, say, they're never going to be the coloured ones. They're never going to be rare because there's millions of them and people have put them aside. But you get a nice condition normal one, nobody keeps them. In 20 years' time, if you have an unk one, you have one of the few in that condition. In 2005 was the 60th anniversary of the end of World War II at St. Paul's Cathedral, and they also put out a second one for the gunpowder plot, so Guy Fawkes. In 2006 we have the tunnel under the Thames, Brunel's tunnel, and they did another one for Brunel for the Iron Bridge. 2007 was the Act of Union. That was the reverse side for the Act of Union. So. 2007 also was the abolition of slavery. 2008 was the Olympics. 2009 was Robbie Burns and Charles Darwin. 2010, Florence Nightingale. 2011 was the King James Bible and the Mary Rose. They also put out packs, and I don't have very many of the packs, but I did get this one. So commemorative coins of the year. So this was a pack where you had the normal coinage, English coinage, that together make up the little shield. So in the UK coinage today, that's the design, but each of them has part of the design. You put them all together and they make up that design. So that's the current English coinage. So this was the bottom left-hand corner is the normal £2 coin, but they did make special commemoratives as well. So it's the King James's Bible and the Mary Rose. Those are the two coins in the pack. So it's quite a nice pack of coins. (2012) was Charles Dickens. There was another one there, but I haven't got it yet. 2013 was the Golden Guinea, the Tube Train, and the Underground. So they're celebrating the Underground. 2014 is the Triumph Lighthouse and Kitchener for the start of World War I. Then it starts getting difficult because the Royal Mint had made that many £2 coins that they were awash with £2 coins. So they stopped making them. And they stopped, the commemorative ones then you could only buy in the pack. They stopped getting them in circulation. And I have a friend in the UK who used to get me these coins from Change and one next and we'd swap coins. He said, you can't get them anymore, it's not there. You have to buy the pack issues. So I said, well, I'm not paying £16 or whatever it is just to get the one coin I want. And so that was where my easier to get £2 coins stopped. And ideally, I collected, I still collect bimetallic coins, but I used to chase it in those days. I don't chase them anymore. When I started collecting bimetallic coins in about 95, I think it was, there weren't that many. The bimetallic coins started in 1982 in Italy. They made a 500 lira bimetallic coin, and they also made a 500 lira for San Marino and a 500 lira for Vatican. So there were 3 bimetallic coins. And then the French copied them, and quite a few other countries slowly added bimetallic coins. We did as well for a short time in the packs, the $5 packs. But in those days when I started collecting, you could feasibly hope to get the complete collection. Today, there's so many, you haven't got the hope in hell of even knowing what's out there, let alone getting everything, and forget it. So that was the end of that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, those are the 3 displays that are on the table. I will give you, there's numbers 1, 2, and 3. Let me give everyone a voting slip, and the person with the most votes, Dave, here's your voting slip. The person with the most votes will win the medal. That's a vote, so just write down numbers 1, 2, or 3.
Did New Zealand have bimetal?
They have one.
At $1 or
No, it was a 50 cent. They had a bimetallic 50 cents that they put out in 94. Their 50 cent coin had the Endeavour on it.
Can I just ask about one?
You want to talk to us about it? This looks like our first ANS medal.
I picked it up a couple of weeks ago, and obviously it's a bicentennial, 1849 to now. Was there a special occasion in 49?
It was the
What is
it
the
was
value of
it was the
that?
first ANS medal that was put out, and it was put out for the centenary of the Virgin Mary.
It's not a scarce one, is it? What's it worth, roughly?
$12, $10 to $12. The silver one is worth about $30. Right, so everyone's got a voting form. There's a pen here. There's a pen in the book, and so just write down your votes, 1, 2, or 3, and we can present the prize.
Are you putting the budget in the bag?
Just throw it in the bag. His dad's doing quite well with those now. But you have to tell him he has to get the other ones in nice
Where's
condition.
the bag?
Just slowly clearing the pool table back off again with all these mixed.
those.
Might be able to play a game of pool by the end of the year. Well, yeah, hopefully this year. Been a couple of years. He started clearing out his odd sod collections, European stuff that he bought in auctions. He was chasing one coin in a batch and didn't have the heart to go, yeah, I'll take that one now. Jim, I'll put that back into auction or ISIS. Right, oh yes, right, so I'll put that back in auction. No, he'd take it all home.
Just left us with
Oh, there he is. He went to the bathroom behind you.
You've got the bag.
Yeah.
You're collecting?
No, I'm collecting. Collecting for the super. Which isn't yours. It's our hasn't been.
Yeah, a couple of little Republican ones.
Oh, yeah.
Both been
Most of this stuff I couldn't resist in this.
in the bag.
They're so cheap.
In the bag.
They cool down.
Tell me where the date is. What's the date of that coin?
Didn't bring my
The
glasses.
bag.
Student happy with the
Gives me a bit of study.
What is this, a Russian?
Is it a Russian one?
Are you looking for a pen?
$25.
You never know with Jim. But I think he was.
The date is.
Maurice is looking for a pen. No, I've already got it.
Okay, so this bit here is just a denomination.
So,
This is the date, just there.
so Graham,
It's Latin or something.
No,
would you
Russian.
prefer milk or bread or is there another sort of
Half
chocolate?
of which are no longer part of the alphabet.
How are you now?
So, but I'll just say that your name with a little
Which one would you like?
Cardiac Jewish Monday. That's like for you for 2 days. You're attached to it Tuesday to Friday. 5 hours a
Once you
day.
work out the system,
If we have that,
You've got to be
you better know your Russian letters.
I know it's
They're not all that different degrees.
It's I started at 65
Yeah, that's the Elizabeth.
Just if you know it's food token,
Love the garden.
that'll open it up. Yeah. Okay.
2000.
And that is
Food tokens.
But I still drove it.
Might be interesting what we get on top of that. You know, I mean, it might be people who come in and have tokens
They used to hire a
for
castle
giving free food.
and then there was. And they asked me, and he said, well, we want
Yeah, but it wasn't free.
castle employees of council.
What's the topic for the next meeting?
It is members' choice.
Members' choice.
You can bring up to 5 items to show and tell.
And there is no way of getting the catalogue for the next hall.
Only if you know somebody who can get onto the internet and show you it.
Internet is out.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be your internet. If you have a friend who's on the internet, they can show you what it is.
You're not interested in printing out a catalogue like you used to.
It's not right down.
You know, I used to print it out just there.
Now
Now it's all
right to every road.
It's not like we're coming in and everyone's bidding here. Everyone's bidding online. It's all
So there's no chance of actually physically seeing the
station
coins
all the way
before
out
the
to
sun or after the sun.
wasn't very that way.
Only
It
on
goes
only
down
on
that
the
way out
internet.
to sunset.
Well, the end of
Sorry.
Mowbray Road to the end of Castle Cove.
Everything else, George, is just too much trouble.
But that's much bigger.
That's a really
I'll just show you.
It's some casual work with
that's a 14 build.
Auckland Hills Council, go around libraries and all that, you know, just little things.
Would you like to count them?
Would I like to count? I can't count.
Put them into 3 packs.
You've returned a few of my lots because they were too expensive. At the meeting in July on Australian decimal banknotes, I spoke about the
auction?
bicentennial $10 note with the red, with the date, etc., etc., and the sequence numbers, and I sold 2 of them privately, and I put 6 numbers running, and I got $5,000 for it.
Well done.
And this is a sale in here. We do get excited about. You said it was too expensive, but it's
George, there's people out there who will pay you big money for it. You've got to find it.
but it's sold at the same about 4 or 5 years ago
No.
for some $150.
That was 5 years ago, and that person wanted it then. And, we may only have the one person in the club who wants it, so they bought it for 5 years ago.
One missing.
It's a small,
I think it's
it's a
David.
small group of people who are looking at the auction.
It was the connection.
It's only our members, there's only 100 members.
I bought one of the 4 sheets at that time. They haven't done. Yeah, and there's not that many of them.
Get a voting slip.
So, how are we doing?
And one more voting slip from David to finish the count.
Here we are, got it.
You got it?
Got it? Yeah, yeah.
You got a
Now
pen?
you can vote. Yeah, what are they on? All right. That was Rod, who
I don't think it matters.
Peter's, was it?
That's
Grant's.
well, it's Dad's. Yeah.
You had to go yet? No. Yours is good.
Oh, it's Dad's.
There you go. So for you. Where you put him? In there?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is
My pleasure.
my pleasure to announce the winner. Congratulations, Mr. President. There is
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, well, you'll find it.
No, I thoroughly recommend it.
Oh, yes.
If you ever see that book, no. I must have been in Melbourne. No, I don't remember buying it in Melbourne. I've been having this
Because
you know,
Take a photo.
I mean, the pictures in it
You get it
itself.
often?
I mean, who was it just then mentioned Florence Nightingale? Florence Nightingale